I was home alone on a Friday night, playing Call of Duty on my Xbox. My parents had gone out for dinner and a movie, and they wouldn't be back until late. I was having a blast, shooting zombies and chatting with my online friends. I didn't hear the sound of glass breaking downstairs or the footsteps on the wooden floor. I only realized something was wrong when I heard a loud thud from the living room. I paused the game and took off my headset. I heard another thud, followed by a curse. Someone was in the house, someone who didn't belong. I felt a surge of fear and adrenaline. I grabbed my phone and ran to my bedroom closet. I locked the door behind me and hid behind a pile of clothes. I dialed 911 and whispered to the operator that there was an intruder in my house. She told me to stay calm and quiet, and that the police were on their way. I tried to breathe slowly and silently, but my heart was pounding in my chest. I heard the intruder rummaging through the drawers and cabinets in the kitchen. He was looking for valuables or maybe something to eat. I hoped he wouldn't find the spare key to the safe where my dad kept his gun and some cash. I heard him move to the dining room, then the hallway. He was getting closer to my bedroom. I prayed that he wouldn't notice the locked door or try to break it down. I heard him stop outside my door. He tried the knob, then kicked the door. I flinched and covered my mouth. He kicked again, harder. The door rattled, but it held. He swore and moved on. I heard him enter the bathroom, then the guest room. He was searching every room except for the one where I was hiding. I wondered how long it would take for the cops to arrive. I checked my phone. It had been 5 minutes since I called 911. Where were they? I heard the intruder come back to the hallway. He was heading downstairs. Maybe he had given up, or maybe he had found what he was looking for. I hoped he would leave soon before he changed his mind and came back upstairs. I heard him open the front door, then slam it shut. I heard the sound of a car engine starting, then fading away. He was gone. I let out a sigh of relief. I was safe. I waited for another minute, then unlocked the door and peeked outside. The coast was clear. I ran downstairs, clutching my phone. I saw the broken window in the living room and the mess he had made in the kitchen. He had taken some jewelry, a laptop, and a camera. He had also eaten some of the pizza I had ordered earlier. The bastard. I heard the sound of sirens outside. I opened the door and saw 2 police cars and an ambulance. The cops got out and approached me. They asked me if I was okay and if I had seen the intruder. I told them what had happened and gave them a vague description of the guy. He was wearing a black hoodie, jeans, and a ski mask. He was about 6 feet tall and had a deep voice. That was all I knew. They told me they would try to find him, but they didn't sound very hopeful. They said he had probably left the area and that he was one of many burglars who had been targeting homes in the neighborhood. They said I was lucky that he didn't hurt me, or worse. They asked me if I had any relatives or friends who could stay with me until my parents came back. I said yes and called my best friend Jake. He said he would be over in a few minutes. The cops said they would wait with me until he arrived. I thanked them and sat on the couch. I felt shaken and violated. I couldn't believe that someone had broken into my house and that I had been so close to danger. I wondered if he would ever be caught, or if he would strike again. I heard a knock on the door. It was Jake. He hugged me and said he was glad I was okay. He said he had brought some movies and snacks and that we could watch them in my room. I felt safer after Jake had arrived. For the rest of that night, nothing bad happened. There was a police car by my street patrolling the area, which made me feel more safe. I still think about this experience to this day, even though this happened to me over 10 years ago. Remember to always be aware of your surroundings. I was home alone for the weekend, as my parents had gone to visit some relatives in another city. I was looking forward to having some fun, playing video games, ordering pizza, and watching movies. I didn't expect anything out of the ordinary to happen, but it did. It was Saturday night, around 10 p.m., when I heard a loud knock on the door. I was surprised as I wasn't expecting anyone to come over. I paused the game I was playing and went to check who it was. I looked through the peephole and saw a man wearing a black hoodie and a mask, holding a large knife in his hand. He was staring right at me with a sinister grin on his face. I felt a surge of fear and panic and quickly backed away from the door. I grabbed my phone and dialed 911, hoping that they would answer soon. I heard the man banging on the door, trying to break it down. He was shouting something, but I couldn't make out what he was saying. I ran to the living room where I had a baseball bat and hid behind the couch. I hoped that he wouldn't find me or that the police would arrive before he did. The operator finally answered, and I told her what was happening. She asked me for my address and told me to stay calm and quiet. She said that the police were on their way and that they would be there in a few minutes. I felt a little relieved, but I was still terrified. I could hear the man still trying to get in, and I wondered how long the door would hold. Then I heard a loud crash and the sound of wood splintering. He had broken the door. I heard his footsteps coming closer, and his breathing getting louder. He was in the house. I held my breath and gripped the bat tightly, ready to fight for my life. I prayed that he wouldn't see me, or that the police would get there in time. He entered the living room and I saw his shadow on the wall. He was looking around, searching for me. He walked past the couch and I thought he had missed me. But then he stopped and turned around. He had seen me. He lifted his knife and lunged at me with a maniacal laugh. I swung the bat with all my strength and hit him in the head. He fell to the ground, dropping his knife. I didn't waste any time and ran to the door. I opened it and saw 2 police cars outside with their sirens blaring. I waved at them and shouted for help. They saw me and ran towards me, guns drawn. They asked me if I was okay and I nodded. They told me to stay outside while they went in to check on the intruder. They came out a few minutes later, carrying him on a stretcher. He was unconscious and bleeding from his head. They told me that he was a wanted serial killer who had escaped from prison a few days ago. He had been targeting random houses and killing the people inside. They took him away and told me that he would never bother me again. I felt a wave of relief and gratitude and thanked them for saving me. They said that they were just doing their job and that I should be proud of myself. They asked me if I had any relatives or friends that I could stay with until my parents came back. I said that I had an aunt who lived nearby and that I would call her. They said that they would escort me to her house and that they would contact my parents and inform them of what had happened. They said that I should get some rest and that they would check on me later. I agreed and followed them to their car. I got in and looked back at my house. It was a mess with the door broken and blood on the floor. I felt a pang of sadness and anger and wondered why this had happened to me. I had done nothing wrong, and yet I had been attacked by a madman. I hoped that he would rot in jail and that he would never hurt anyone again. I turned around, checking out the police officers. They flashed me friendly smiles saying, "Relax, everything's gonna be fine." They told me I basically survived a crazy nightmare and that I should be stoked. Like I've got this bright future waiting, and I shouldn't let this mess ruin it. They even called me a hero and were all proud of what went down. I'm just happy to be alive after this incident. So this happened a few days ago and I'm still shaken by it. I live in a pretty safe neighborhood with my parents and 2 dogs, a big Doberman and a small poodle. They are very loyal and protective of me, but they also bark a lot at anything that moves. This annoys the hell out of our neighbors, who constantly complain and threaten us with notes. One of them even said he would hurt our dogs if they didn't shut up. My parents decided to go away for the weekend and take the dogs with them to a kennel so they wouldn't cause any trouble. I was left alone in the house, which was fine by me. I planned to spend the weekend playing video games and watching movies like any normal teenager. It was Saturday night and I was playing Rainbow Six Siege with some friends online. I had my mic on and my window open because it was hot. My friends kept telling me to stop making a weird noise like a squeaky toy. I had no idea what they were talking about, so I took off my headphones and listened. That's when I heard it. A loud banging sound coming from the backyard. I looked out the window and saw a tall, muscular man wearing a black hood, slamming his body against the fence. The fence was old and weak and the wood was cracking. I freaked out and called 911, then stayed by the window to watch the man. The 911 operator told me to lock myself in a room and stay out of sight, and that a cop was on the way. But I was too curious and scared to follow her advice. I wanted to see what the man was doing and why he was trying to break in. He finally managed to break the fence off its hinges, but he didn't come in right away. He reached over his shoulder and pulled out something that looked like a hunting rifle. I only saw it by the moonlight, but it was enough to make me panic. I ran to my bedroom and hid under the bed, hoping he wouldn't find me. I heard a loud crash downstairs, which was probably the back door being smashed. Then I heard footsteps coming up the stairs, slowly and quietly. The man was looking for me, or something else. I don't know what he wanted, but I knew it wasn't good. I heard the police sirens outside getting closer and louder. I thought I was saved, but I made a stupid mistake. I decided to run for it, thinking I could get out of the house before the man saw me. I got to the stairs and turned the corner only to come face to face with the intruder. He grabbed me by the neck and squeezed hard. I couldn't breathe. He pulled down his hood and I saw his face. It was my neighbor, the one who hated our dogs. He looked crazy and angry. He let go of me and reached for his rifle. He pointed it at me and pulled the trigger, but nothing happened. The idiot had left the safety on. The police kicked down the door and tased him before he could try again. They arrested him and took him away. He was charged with breaking and entering and carrying an illegal firearm. I was lucky to be alive. I don't know what he would have done to me if he had shot me. I don't know why he hated me and my dog so much. I don't know how long he had been planning this. I'm just glad it's over. I called my parents and told them what happened. They came back as soon as they could and hugged me. They were shocked and relieved. I also told my friends online and they were very worried and supportive. They said I should post this on Reddit and get some karma. So here I am, sharing my story with you.